Big Sills! Last exhibition game of the year. Rosters are pretty much set. Last preseason game, you're probably looking for one or two guys to fill out your 53-man roster. And this exhibition game will probably be used to fill out your practice squad. Now, what's significant about this, Howie's going to be looking at other rosters and other practice squad guys so that potentially on cuts you can add a guy and put a guy on your practice team. So that practice squad team is going to become more and more important each and every single year because that's kind of like your go-to pool of guys first before you go into free agency. So I would say this, man. You're going to get a chance to look at some depth guys as they play the Colts this week. We're going to look at week 2 of the NFL exhibition season. It's really, like I said last week and all last week, the dress rehearsal. And we're going to talk about some positions. And by the way, I heard a topic. Now, look, I know when I bring this topic up, everyone's going to go shitbag on me. And everyone's going to go, you're Hurts hating again. That's not where I'm going here. Someone else brought this up. And I'm going to add this to the conversation here. But it looks like Quez Watkins has lost his job to Alameda Zacchaeus. And probably rightfully so. Here's the problem that you have with Quez. He's not a fighter. He's not tough enough for the position. It's one thing. Here, I'll say this to you. He's fast. That's it. He has no redeeming quality to be the third wide receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles, except the speed. The speed's the only thing that keeps him in the conversation. That's the only thing. You know what I would do with Quez? Put him on special teams. Make him a punt returner. They need more help there. Turn him into a special teams guy. See what kind of character he has. There's nothing really redeeming about him. Quan, what's up, brother? Right? There's nothing redeeming about the guy except his speed. So, see if he can be a special teams guy. They need help. They need bodies there. They need athletes on that side of the ball. You know, that's the third facet of your roster is your special teams. Now, maybe they think he's not. How about this? If Quez Watkins is not being considered for punt or kick return, that means the indictment that I'm making on him is true. They don't think he's tough enough to play special teams. Okay? Joey, appreciate it. You feel me, man? He's just not tough enough. He lost that job. I'll tell you why. Do you trust him on jump footballs? So we're going to look at some of the roster spots too and some of the big concerns. As the roster, I think the roster's set, the Eagle roster. So I think it's set. Okay? I'm going to make a comment to you. Before I get to the topics here. I want to make a comment to you about Jalen Carter and even Jordan Davis. You know what's funny? When I watch those two guys play, Jordan Davis still needs to work a lot of technique, but I'll tell you the one thing that he does have, he's got great feet. And he moves his feet. Jalen Carter has exceptional feet. I posted a video of Mozzie Smith from the Cowboys, and it was from the Seattle game this past weekend, albeit Seattle's got a good old line. 3 of the 5 guys in their offensive line are pretty good ball players. Slipped and scooped, not moving your feet. Man, Mozzie Smith is 10 times with worse feet than Jalen Carter and even Jordan Davis. And Jordan Davis is a fire plug. Mozzie Smith, in my opinion, is a reach. I said it on draft day. Slipped and scooped. By the way, you want to see false steps? Go to my Twitter page at Dan Sileo. show, and I'll show you. Carter and Jordan Davis don't do this. They don't jump technique. They play the technique that's in front of them. To me, that's better coaching. These kids are getting well coached in Philly. And I think the guy in Dallas is just not getting well coached, and he's jumping technique, either in a 2 technique, 3 technique. I don't think he's a good football player. I think he's got flash plays where his strength takes over. But if you're asking me, will that guy be a star in this league? I might be dead wrong. But I don't see it. Like when I watch Jordan, hey, let me just not use the better athlete in Jalen Carter or the better football player in Jalen Carter. Let me just use Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is better than that kid. Mozzie Smith is never going to be better than Jordan Davis. I don't think. I don't see it, man. And get this, I just threw this tape on and I just randomly picked one. And I was like this. There were 4 minuses in a row in 4 consecutive plays. And I'm going like this. How can you have 4 minuses in a row? False steps. The shit I talk about with Nakobe Dean. Can't take false steps in this league against good football players. You'll get blocked, scooped, and slipped, and you'll get your shoulders turned. You got to watch what I posted on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. Again, I'm not just baiting you to go there. Watch what I'm talking about. He's just not very good. Maybe he gets better. I don't know. Right now, he's struggling. And then when I watch Carter and I watch Davis, I'm like, these guys might get blocked. Like in the Cleveland game, they got blocked, but they were playing technique and they were formidable in there, at least putting up a battle. He's getting driven 4 yards off the ball. Davis and Carter are not getting driven 4 yards off the ball. Okay? I don't see this kid. This kid Smith, in my opinion, was a 3rd-round draft choice. He's got a long way to go, man. He really does. Let me get to this Jalen Hurts topic here. I thought it was an interesting conversation. Now, before we get into this conversation, please understand this. This is not my take, but I thought it was a pretty good conversation. How many quarterbacks do you think could come into Philadelphia and put up better numbers than Jalen Hurts? From the elite guys that are in the NFL today. 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns is not a lot. So James Jones was talking about Justin Fields being a better athlete and being a better prospect than Jalen Hurts. And here's the context of it. Can you name the wide receivers on the Bears last year? He threw 17. And you know what's funny? When he was on Speak for Yourself on Fox Sports, I was like, I can't name a receiver. He threw 17. That's 5 less than Jalen. And Shady McCoy goes, yeah, well, aren't you going to count the rushing? Well, Justin Fields had 1,100 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. Jalen had 713. And James Jones's opinion was nobody in their right mind would have an MVP with 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns as a serious MVP candidate. If you think about it, everyone would be like, what? And his point was, and again, listen, I'm putting his story out first, and then I want us to comment on it. His story is this. Any of the elite quarterbacks that are in the NFL, if they were in Philadelphia with 2 number ones, a number 1 tight end, a number 1 offensive line, and a number 1 running back, would put up better numbers than Hurts. Is he wrong? No. You put Josh Allen in Philadelphia, he throws for 5,000 yards. Now, his point was this. Is Hurts winning because of the team around him. Could Jalen go to any of these other, could Jalen go to Chicago and win more games than Justin Fields? I don't think he could. I don't think he could. He couldn't carry that Bears team to a playoff team. Okay? How about this? The point was, he's not winning more games than Justin Fields. And James Jones's opinion was, he's a more explosive runner. He's got a better range when it comes to arm strength. Is he wrong? Again, this is conversation here. Having a different quarterback means installing a different system, which yields different statistical results. Well, then let's just use Justin Fields. So you're trying to tell me you don't think Justin Fields can come to Philadelphia and play and have better statistics and do the same thing that Jalen Hurts is doing? He's more of an electric runner. I mean, he's on the shittiest offense in pro football a year ago, and he put up 17 passing touchdowns and 1,100 rushing yards. You're telling me if he's not playing with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and the best O-line in football, he's not putting up 3,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 1,500 yards rushing? You're telling me he's not doing that? I don't know. Again, it's conversation. Okay? Okay, I mean, Justin Fields, hey, you want to hear this? You know I'm not a Justin Fields fan. But I think the context of his take was, don't you think like Lamar Jackson coming into Philadelphia, if he put up an MVP unanimous season in Baltimore in 17, or whatever year it was, don't you think if he had 2 ones like that, his numbers would be even better? 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns is not an MVP year. Is he winning because of the team that's around him? It's the most stacked team for any quarterback in the NFL. That's his take. Okay? I'm not going to penalize a player because he has a competent general manager. I don't know if that's the question here, though. How good is he without that team? I think is more the question. You think if there's any kind of injuries on that football team, Jalen can carry the team to the Super Bowl? I do not believe that. Now, I think if Joe Burrow loses Jamar Chase, I don't think I don't know. Joe Burrow took the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl with the 29th worst offensive line. So, okay. Josh Allen won 13 ball games with one player in the offense that was worth the shit. The guy in Kansas City is an outlier. I get it. So making any kind of comparison to Patrick Mahomes is crazy because it's him and everyone else right now. Okay? Once again, this wasn't my take. This is more of a conversation that they had. All of it's true. Justin Fields doesn't have the number one O-line. He's got one of the worst O-lines in the NFL. He had the worst wide receiving core in the NFL last year. Okay? I mean, he didn't have a defense on the other side to get stops. I couldn't name you a guy he threw the ball to last year. That kind of goes to Daniel Jones a little bit too. Who Daniel Jones throw the ball to last year? People go, Daniel Jones had 15 or 17 touchdowns. Okay, I get that. But Daniel Jones carried that team to the playoffs. If you think about it, with Barkley, but Jalen had Miles Sanders. Was it like Jalen did that alone? I think it's an interesting conversation. Okay? How good is Burrow without his team? We've never seen it, not once. Well, I saw him with the worst O-line in pro football go to a Super Bowl and a quarter away from winning it. Jalen's never had the worst of anything. Well, his first year, he had one wideout. Still had a good back, and he had a great tight end, and he had a really good wideout. Jalen's never had a situation where he's been on a bad team. Now, again, that's the luck of being drafted in the right place. So it's got a lot to do with you being drafted somewhere, too. You get drafted to Chicago or the Jets, your chances of succeeding are little because they haven't developed either. O-lines, wideouts, nothing. Joe Douglas is doing a better job in New York now. But I heard, and I talked to Joy Taylor because Joy was on the panel when they were talking, James Jones and Shady. And I was like, he brings a compelling point up that, we've never seen Jalen without a good football team around him. Could he carry a football team? Like, get this. If Howie had to trade away A.J. Brown and they lost some old linemen, you think they're going to the Super Bowl this year? It's funny, isn't it? Kansas City's is in the conversation going back to the Super Bowl. They lost Juju Smith-Schuster, and I can't name you a wideout they got in the building. No, they got Kelsey. O-line's not bad. They're investing in the O-line, but quite frankly, it's not really a lot there. I mean, have they done anything in Buffalo to enhance the offense around Josh Allen? Not really. They're leaning on him to carry the team to the AFC Championship. Actually, the other guy in the AFC, in my opinion, there's two guys that I think have stacked teams. I think Justin Herbert's got a stacked team. I think his O-line's good. He's got two really good wideouts in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Tight end's not the greatest. They got Austin Eckler. I mean, that's a good-looking offense. He should be doing more there. I agree with you. Okay, he's got a packed team. That guy needs to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, if there's any guy in the AFC that has what Jalen has, it's Justin Herbert. Guy's got to win a playoff game. So, when you look at that, the guys with less, aren't they more valuable? Okay? And for the record, listen, it's a conversation. Hurts grew with the team. In 2021, Eagles came off of 4-11 in one season. They said the O-line was done because they were old. He had to play with Jalen Reagor, Marshmallow Quez Watkins. Nobody was giving Goddard the praise Philadelphia was giving him. It's true. Miles Sanders also was not giving the praise, and he was often injured. The defense was suspect, one of the worst sack teams in the league at the time, 2021. That 2021 Eagle team did not have a good sack total. The 22 roster in 2021 roster is right in the day. Got to remember, Hurts didn't play a lot of 4 quarters. Is Fields more accurate? No, he's not. And by the way, I'm not here. I guess I should probably tell. Do I think Justin Fields is better than Jalen Hurts? I don't. I'm not saying that. James Jones said that. So maybe, let me get that. I do not believe that. However, it does bring a great point up. I mean, 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns is not an MVP candidate to me. I agree. You combine the 14 wins. Well, that's because of the players around him, too. Now, I think you're not giving Jalen enough credit for this. And I've said this a couple months ago. Well, Jalen may not have put up superstar numbers, and he did not. The guy in Seattle had better numbers. Geno Smith had more MVP-type numbers than Hurts did. However, here's the common denominator that separates him, though. Everyone around him had a career year. The quarterback has to be given credit for that. Okay? He has to be given credit for that. Batman goes, he had 35 touchdowns. Well, Okay, he had 9 more touchdowns than Justin Fields. I mean, okay. He had 9 more touchdowns than Justin Fields. I don't know. I wouldn't say Justin Fields had some MVP season last year. He only had 9 more touchdowns. You want to combine it? You want to do that, bad man? Okay. He had 9 more touchdowns on one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, no, I don't think. On a team that won 3 games, 4 games, no. I'm saying this. How many touchdowns would he have had if he had AJ, Devontae, the best O-line, Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders? 55? You got to at least give him. Tone said something to me a couple months ago also about Nicholas Morrow. Sills, don't you think if people play with better people, your numbers are going to go up? Your production will go up? Your accuracy? Yes. Yes. I do. Why wouldn't Fields if he had better people? I think it's a compelling argument. Now, again, hey, it's a conversation because people don't respect Jalen. They think it's more of a team, or as I should say, a system that the general manager has put in place. To me, I don't subscribe to this. Don't put me in James Jones's league. I'm saying this. There is a component that I agree. Hey, you bring a more talented passer into that offense, okay? I think you're going to have more turnovers. Because if you throw the ball more, you're looking to turn the ball over more. I think you look at it wrong too. See, the impressive number is not the 22 touchdowns. The impressive number is the 6 picks and the least amount of turnovers. The media has put Hurts in a category of do it again because the media thinks last year was a fluke. Hey, Death Row, I don't think that that's an out-of-hand comment to say, let's see it do it again. You've only done it once. I want to see Sauce Gardner do it again. The only way that you become legendary and great in this NFL is with consistency. 1 year doesn't make you an elite. Does anybody think Cooper Kupp's the best wide receiver in the NFL because he had one spectacular year, one Hall of Fame year? Does anyone think he's the best wideout? No. You've got to do it over a consistent period of time. Brady's considered the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL, not because he put up spectacular seasons, which he's had a few, but nothing like Rodgers. 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, the ability that Rodgers has compared to Brady's night and day. Brady's a better player. Rodgers is a better talent. We see that every day. Fields is not better. He's more athletic. Here, it's this. This is the greatest comparison on an RPO quarterback that I could get next to Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Follow me if you can follow along. Some of you won't be able to because you don't want to. Aaron Rodgers is a better talent than Tom Brady. We all agree. Brady's a better quarterback. Justin Fields is a better athlete than Jalen Hurts. Jalen's a better RPO quarterback. It's the same. I'd rather be Hurts. You can have all the athleticism you want. If you're not getting across the finish line with wins and statistics, what's the point of being athletic? See, that's where I think James Jones loses the argument. Okay, you got me. Justin Fields is a better athlete than Jalen. Aaron Rodgers is a better athlete than Brady. Brady's a better quarterback. Jalen's a better quarterback. Until proven otherwise. That's where I think that argument lands. But again, it's a sign of disrespect. How could you compare a guy that won 14 ball games and accounted for 35 touchdowns and had everyone on his team have a career year and compare him to a guy who's still like, we're all doing this too? Is he the guy in Chicago? Okay? See, Samuel goes, Justin is nowhere near the passer Hurts is. He's got a stronger arm. Is he a better passer? No. Aaron Rodgers is a better passer than Tom Brady. He's more accurate. Who wins more games? Tom Brady. Okay. See how the fine line is? You can have all this. There was a guy that played back in the day by the name of Jeff George. One of the most gifted quarterbacks I have ever seen. Throw the ball 95 yards in the air. This guy was unbelievable. Could roll out. You put him in a football game, he's Jay Cutler. Him and Jay Cutler were exactly alike. You're like, holy shit, I saw Bernie Kosar, who was the most non-athletic guy, get to 3 AFC title games. That position is weird. It's why people fail at evaluating it. Right here is the number. Get this. More people looked at Justin Fields, at his ability and his athleticism, than Jalen Hurts' intangibles. That's why he was drafted higher. I'm not saying nothing out of hand here. Jalen is a deep ball thrower, and no, he's not. He throws the ball. He threw the ball 450 times. That's one of the least attempts of any guy who was in that MVP conversation a year ago. He doesn't throw the ball a lot. 450 times? They did that in the 80s. That's not a lot of attempts. People today in the NFL throw the ball 650 times, not 450. There's Mahomes threw the ball 225 more times than Hurts did last year. Of course you're going to have more turnovers. It's just different. Since Hurts is dual threat, let's discuss his numbers with dual threat context. Jalen Hurts' total yards. Again, this is all team related, though. 4,461 yards. A.J. Smith and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. All right, yeah. Sounds about right to me. Maybe I'd like to see a little Jalen Hurts total yards. 4,461 yards and 35 touchdowns. 66.5 completion percentage. Well, you better have that number when you have A.J. Brown and you have Devontae Smith. Don't you think that would be a little bit of a disappointment if he's not at 66.5 with 2 ones? You're giving a guy credit for something that should be done with 2 number 1 wideouts. We're not talking about guys who are nobodies here, like Fields had to throw to. Jalen Hurts is throwing to 2 guys who potentially could wear gold jackets one day. 66.5? I'm expecting that. One guy's $25 million, the other guy is a first rounder. I'm expecting that. Wouldn't you? Now, the 6 turnovers is exceptionally impressive. That's the most impressive thing on that ledger that he has here. 6 turnovers? Protecting the football is where the wins are, not the touchdowns. The wins are in that 6 turnover number. That's where the wins are coming from. How many times we see quarterbacks put up 35 touchdowns a year and their football team's 9-8? Well, okay, really? Where are we going with that? 35 touchdowns, 16 picks. Well, 16 picks in timely situations in games. The most disappointing play in Jalen Hurts' career in 2 years has been to scoop and score in the Super Bowl. That's the only time in his career I've seen him in a critical situation turn the ball over. Okay? And I'm not killing him for it because that's 34 games in, or 30. 32 games, 31 games in out of all them starts. 31 games out of 34. He has a scoop and score. I get it's in the Super Bowl. Still, it's a phenomenal number. Some quarterbacks don't always come in with the row up front talent, so you have to put more pieces around them to find out how much they can develop. Oh, there's no question Howie Roseman's gifted in how he's been able to put that RPO offense together, never having done it before. Absolutely, the general manager is putting the chess pieces all in the right place here. There's no getting around that. Okay? I think it's a great conversation here. Did Chicago have all the money to make the team better? Yes. Last year, hey, death row. This past offseason, they had $96 million. Yes, sir. And I don't believe they've done anything. They added the kid from Carolina. That'll help. Not enough. Sills, I watched every game. Sills, I watch every single one. In grave detail, Hurts may not have thrown the ball 500 or 600 times, but he has slinged the rock down the field every single game. Deep balls to Smitty and Brown were regular occurrences in 2022. Again, didn't throw the ball as much as Mahomes, but I'm not buying he can't throw deep. No, I'm not saying he can't throw deep. I'm saying they refuse to throw deep at a big pace. They're not going to. That's not what they need to. They don't. That's high turnover football. No risk it, no biscuit. Brady doesn't do that. Don't you get? I'm comparing him more to Brady. Brady's not a big guy that chucks the ball down the field like that. He threw the ball 700 some odd times last year. He's the dump-off king. Why is Brady a dump-off king and doesn't throw the ball a ton down the field? You know why? That's high turnover. They're going to say, hey, I'll tell you one thing he doesn't do still today, Jalen Hurts. He's not a progression reader. That's not what the RPO is. You know exactly where you're going with the ball. You're either going to pass it to this guy on this side of the field. You're either going to have a block and release in the tight end, hand the ball off, or you're taking off. That's not progression reading. That's RPO reading. It's a difference than being a 7-step dropper where you got to know, again, zone coverages, predetermined snaps, moving guys with your head. He's not going to sit back there 45 times and throw the ball. He's not. Now, again, he can. Why? He's got 2 1s. So when someone goes like this, well, Jalen's 66.5%. With A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, if he's anything less than that, he's failing. So I get the point that James Jones was making. And again, I'm not ripping him. But I think it gives you more of a clear view of what the Eagles are attempting to do here. You know, you guys are doing this. The big argument, we're going to get to this here in a minute, is about the backup quarterback. There's not a backup quarterback in the NFL that can – he's not in the NFL right now that could play in Philly. You guys are naming people that have no chance. Marcus Mariota is probably the best option. Okay? I think the best option is him. He's showing you how hard it is to do what he does. Don't you get it? I went back and watched Mariota. Mariota's trying to duplicate the shit Jalen's doing. You think someone like Matt Ryan's going to come in and do that? Never. You'd have to change your whole offense. And the Eagles don't do that. They showed you last year with Minshew. Minshew tried doing it. He looked like a fish out of water. Okay? There's not a guy in the NFL that could do what Hurts does. Jones misses that point. Okay, Justin Fields is a better athlete. So what? So what? That was my take to Joy. I told Joy, I go, so what? He's a better athlete. He's not a better quarterback. I said he didn't have MVP numbers. I get it. Everyone around him did. You could have made the argument that A.J. Brown could have been in a conversation for the best wideout last year. You could have made a conversation prior to Goddard getting injured that he was the best tight end in the NFL. You could have made an argument that Miles Sanders, how many backs were better than Miles Sanders last year? The kid in Las Vegas, the kid in Tennessee, and Miles, right? Those, maybe the guy in Cleveland. Maybe the guy in Cleveland. Okay, right? Picken goes like this. Here's another, that's another great point, Big Picken. Fields has to learn to protect himself. He's not a better quarterback. He's a better athlete. What would you rather be? Who would you rather have quarterbacking the Philadelphia Eagles? The best athlete in the NFL at the position or the best quarterback in the NFL at that position? Jalen Hurts is not ranked third in the NFL by many people as the third best quarterback because he's the most gifted athlete. He's there because he's moving the sticks and the chains. James Jones misses that. Justin Fields could be the best athlete. Same way Aaron Rodgers is a better athlete than Brady. So what? So what? Matt Beats goes like this. Hurts is a better quarterback by a mile. I agree. See, Matt uses the most important word, quarterback. I agree. But what happens is that when you start taking little media shots at Hurts, and by the way, this is not my take. You can aim it at me all you want. Okay, it's a lowbrow way of saying that I'm ripping Hurts. I haven't ripped him at all. I have not. They're doing something completely different in Philly than any other place in the league. That's why you can't find a backup. That's why you can't find a backup. Hey, don't you think teams around the league are looking for Hurts? They'll never find him. There's not a kid coming out in the draft like Jalen. There's not a kid in college ball. You think that kid at USC is going to do what Hurts did? Never happened. He ain't the runner Jalen is. And as far as I'm concerned, beat Utah first, kid. I don't see Caleb Williams, and I don't see Patrick Mahomes like some people think. I don't see that. He can't even win the shitty Pac-12. I don't see it. I think the kid at UNC might be better. Hurts is built different. Oh, hey, Brian. Great. I'd rather be unique than common. Wouldn't you? So I posted that conversation on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. You can watch it too. And I'm like, I think I get his point. Dude, this guy's benefiting from having great talent around him. And can he carry a team without that talent around him? That's yet to be determined. It is. But how many? Well, the guy in Buffalo won 13 games with one wideout, no tight end, and no running back. In the AFC, you guys keep telling me how shitty Josh Allen is. Josh Allen doesn't have two number ones. He doesn't have a number one tight end. He doesn't have a number one running back. He doesn't have a number one O-line. And he won 13 games in the AFC. Shit, Russell Wilson went into the AFC, got his face kicked in. I mean, that's why, like I said to you, I think 2023 is going to be an awful interesting season. And do I think the Eagles have the best offense in the NFC? I certainly do. I certainly do. Gabriel Davis? He's not bad. He's not a bad number two. Compared to Devontae? He's not bad. I'll back that up. Hey, Big Trag, I'll back that up. You're right. He's not bad. As a matter of fact, I wrote down the best number 2 wideouts in pro football. I got 8 of them. Okay? Saints, Michael Thomas. He ain't a one now, is he? How many years of football has he missed? Okay? The kid from Ohio State's their number 1 guy. I do have Gabe Davis from the Bills at number 7. Okay? This is the best number 2 receivers in the league. I think George Pickens will probably be number 1 by midway point in Pittsburgh. Okay? Steelers. Jahan Dotson. Hey, by the way, I think Washington has really good wideouts. The more you think of Washington, the Commanders have great wideouts. Okay? There's some pretty good ball players in Washington at the Y&Z. And this kid Dotson from Penn State's pretty good. I got him at 5. Brandon Ayuk, I got him at 4. 49ers. These are the best number 2s. I got T. Higgins, number 3. Bengals. I got Devontae, number 2. Eagles. And I got Jalen Waddle, number 1. Jalen Waddle. Okay, now, can you go like this? Well, Sills, he's got Tyreek Hill on the other side. Yeah, well, last year he had Teddy Bridgewater, sometimes Tua, and another dude. And he still put up big numbers. Waddle's a great player. Okay? And like I said too, I would say this. Waddle and Smith, they're kind of the same guy. If you went like this, Sills, Devontae Smith, number 1, Jalen Waddle, 2. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll take the number 2 guy. And I think you're good there. Okay? Look, if you want to give me Smith and you take Waddle, I'm good with Devontae. If you want to take Waddle or give me Waddle and you take Devontae, I'm good with Waddle too. I think both guys are really great ball players. Not a coincidence. They're from the same wide receiver room in college though, right? So, listen, I think it's just another sign of disrespect for Jalen too. You put him in a conversation that you're comparing him to Justin Fields, and you do it with not the right intentions. If you want to call Justin Fields the best athlete, comparing the two, that's one thing. But to sit there and go like this, well, you know, if he was on the Eagles, he would lead. I don't know that yet. I think leadership is also something, and winning ball games is something too. Because you know what that is? Here, watch this. Jalen Hurts' in-game decision-making to throw a ball out of bounds, not to take an interception, maybe take a minus play, punt, is patience. Does he have that same patience Jalen has? I don't know yet. I haven't seen it because they don't win enough games in Chicago. Okay? I think the more patient he becomes, Hurts, the better he's going to be. Like Brady. I think that to me, patience is leadership. Why is that? You know, I think being patient, that's one of the intangibles on being a CEO or president of a team or president of a business. You've got to have patience and the right time and the right place for patience. He has it. That's something you just can't get at a combine. See, when you watch a guy like Jordan Davis or you watch Jalen Hurts at a combine, you do this. These guys are great athletes. Holy shit. Here, the first time I came on this network, Jody was talking about Justin Fields' 4.4. I was like, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care he ran a 4.4. Does he get timely yards? Does he get important yards? Here, this goes to Jalen Hurts' numbers. Whose numbers were more significant to his team's success? 3,700 passing yards versus 4,400 passing yards in Minnesota. What was more significant? This is what James Jones misses. Jalen doesn't throw the ball for yards. He throws the ball to move the chains. That's what Brady did. Sometimes Brady throw the ball 154 times in a game. That was all that was needed. That's what Mahomes is doing. Don't you get it? You guys keep doing this, and you guys keep saying this every time Jalen's played against Mahomes. He outplays him. No, he doesn't. He outstats him. So, what's the difference with the conversation that Jones is having when it comes to Mahomes and Hurts' numbers when he says it's only 3,700 yards? Well, every time Jalen's played against him, he's put up better numbers. Does it matter? No, because why? Mahomes does what he has to do to win the game. And people will go, well, he outplayed him. No, he didn't. You're 0-2. And you lost the biggest game on the planet. And he beat you in your yard with a better team. Who really played who? That's the difference. That's why Hurts will never be considered in Justin Fields' league. Because Justin Fields, in my opinion, doesn't even look like Jalen when he plays the game. It's chaotic. It's all over the place. He doesn't protect himself. He overthrows everything. Now, is that poor talent? Probably. The sneak is a weapon and the team has with Jalen. What is it, 91% or 96%, whatever that thing is? Because of his leg power. They were trying to change the rules. Bear, absolutely, man. I would make this point to you, Bear. Here, Bear, you want to hear the difference between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow? There's a better chance that Jalen Hurts will lead the NFL in rushing than passing yards. I think that's all you need to know between the difference of the two. You got a better chance of him leading the NFL in rushing than in passing yards. 92%? That's insanity on a quarterback sneak. Okay? Quan goes, I've lost the plot of the argument. It's not an argument. They were trying to make a statement that Justin Fields could come into Philadelphia and win 14 ball games with the talent around him. I don't believe he could. But I got the conversation, Quan. Well, what would he do with better talent? I think he'd be a better ball player. But I think there's an intangible on winning NFC title games and changing. Remember something else he did? Hurts is changing a narrative on how you look at him. Well, to some. Has Jalen changed my opinion? No, I will never have a dual threat quarterback as my guy. However, you know what he's changed my opinion on? He's one of those guys you don't bet against. You don't bet against Jordan. You don't bet against Bird. You don't bet against Brady. You don't bet against Tiger in their prime, all these guys. You don't bet against those guys. Every time you bet against them, they're beating you. You know how many times you bet against those guys and they beat you? You know? Hollywood goes, Eagles are frauds. Hey, dude, here's one thing they're not. They may be a little fraudulent on defense, but I think that's only because of experience. But offense, here, if you were going to draft the talent that's on offense and just say top 10 picks in the draft, where would you draft AJ? 5th overall? Where would you draft Devontae? 9th? Where would you draft Lane? Second. Where would you draft Hurts? Fifth. Where would you draft Mulata? Ninth. There's not a guy in that offense you wouldn't take in the top 10 picks in any draft. Those guys are stars. Here. Jordan Mulata, where is he ranked in the top left tackles? 8th. Landon Dickerson, guard. 6th. Jason Kelsey, 1. Right guard, to be determined. Right tackle, 2. Tight end, 3. AJ, 4. Devontae, 8th. That's quite a conversation there you just had. You got top 10 guys at almost every freaking position in your offense. That's what Jones's point was. What would Josh Allen do? They're probably going to put up a ton of numbers because that's what he is. He's a passer. What would Daniel Jones do with that Eagle offense? He had none of that last year. Carried the football team to the postseason. Right? There's always excuses when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Kevin, that's right. How about this, Kevin? It's always a negative debate. Jalen Hurts is not being – get this. Joe Burrow and Mahomes are being compared. Jalen Hurts is being compared to Justin Fields? Jesus. I'm not sure he's a quarterback yet. I don't know if Buffalo was playing some starters on defense against the Steelers in preseason, but Sam Malo was opening some big holes. He looks good. He looks good. Pittsburgh's going to be a surprise, I think. I think Pittsburgh's going to be a surprise. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Why is Jalen Hurts being compared to Justin? I'm listening to that debate, and I'm like, Jalen Hurts? I mean, I would have had more respect if you would have compared him to Daniel Jones than Justin Fields. Daniel Jones, when a playoff game, kind of plays like Jalen. It doesn't have anybody there in New York. Justin Fields, I'm not sure can throw the ball. And Jones is like he's got better arm strength. Does that really matter if you could throw the ball further than someone else? Dude, I'm looking for accuracy. I'm not looking for a guy who could throw through a steel door. I don't care about that. The conversations, they wobble on Hurts. It's very disrespecting. Comparing Jalen Hurts to Justin Fields? It's really? Now, look, if you want like this, dude, the only guy that you are to compare Jalen to is Lamar. That's with respect. If you're talking Lamar and Jalen, you got me going like this. Man, one guy's just a year older. His resume is by far more accomplishing than Jalen's. But Jalen looks like he's got the needle going up. Lamar, you're kind of like, where is he? Is he here? Is he there? You're coming off injuries, business decision that he made. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like, his decision-making was a little bit wobbly off the field, and you're like, and Jalen has handled himself, his career, his development, his behavior, his bedside manner, way better than anybody thought he could. Why is Dan saying the Steelers and Browns will be good this year? Bengals and Ravens in the same division. Who's making the playoffs there? I said the Steelers are going to be good. It's a good division. That's a really good division. And if they can get anything out of Willis in Tennessee, and I think that's who Vrabel wants to have. That's the South. I'm sorry. The Bengals and Ravens, I think the Bengals and Ravens are going to be there. The Browns are going to be right there. You get 3 teams out of that division. maybe make the postseason. That's going to be one of the stronger divisions in football. No, Jalen and Josh Allen are better comps. Jalen's not going to throw the ball as much as Josh. He's never going to be a 4,500-yard passer. So it's different. Now, I mean, he's just a different dude, man. That guy, when people around the league talk about Josh Allen, they talk about Josh Allen because of his freak ability. But again, is that going to win games? Is that going to win a Super Bowl? I don't know that yet. He's got freak ability. So did Aaron Rodgers. Who was a better ball player, Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre? If you had to win a game, who would you take, Rodgers or Favre? I wouldn't take either. One guy throws the ball too many times to people. You know, when Brett Favre retired, he threw the most touchdowns and interceptions in NFL history. And the other guy gets into big games since that Super Bowl win 12 years ago. This guy shits a storm up. This guy drops games to Jimmy Garoppolo. I look at both those guys and go, I don't know. They're a tick up from Dak. Okay, they're a tick up from Dak. Right? Favre, I guess. Yeah. And you know why I'm Philly? You know why I'm not a Favre fan? Because he turned here's a Favre line. 375 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't know, man. Is that going to win me games? Right? So to circle back, like Quan would say, okay, James Jones, you're right. Justin Fields is a better athlete. Is Justin Fields, though, a quarterback in the NFL right now? That's a big no. There's not a general manager in football that would build their team around him. Howie has built the team around this kid. Has built it, like Tone said, to fit him like a glove. Everything they do is to accommodate Hurts. Look at what they did philosophy-wise for Jalen. Think about this, for instance. Okay? They looked at Miles Sanders' 1,300 yards rushing and went like this. What's more beneficial to Hurts' career? Getting a screen game going, having a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who they made a play for at the trading deadline, or having an old school 265 carry back who is back there in the backfield behind him? What's more beneficial? What's more threatening to a defense? To me, getting in an I formation in today's NFL, I don't know. Having a guy like Swift versus a guy like Swift in today's NFL concerns me more as a coordinator than a guy like Derrick Henry. Because if you don't have the horses to stop Derrick Henry, it won't matter. But if you got all the weapons around and you add Swift to it, you don't have enough defenders in your huddle to be able to stop that. Okay? You just don't. So I completely disagree with James Jones's take on it. Because the team is built differently. And I think just because you have superstar talent in Philadelphia, I don't think anybody could come in and win. I don't. That's like saying, look at how many times we've seen this thing where they changed the room here. Look what Matthew Stafford did. Matthew Stafford and Brady went into places that had talent and won Super Bowls. So let me ask you this. Matthew Stafford in Detroit all them years, he couldn't win shit. He had no playoff wins. They put Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. This is to James Jones's point. They put him in Los Angeles with all that talent. They won a Super Bowl. That's his point. You put better players around better players. Don't they play better? I thought it was interesting. But my rub the wrong way. My rub was, you're comparing him to Justin Fields. I thought the Fields comparison was wrong. I was like, Justin Fields? Shit, they debated on trading him away to get Bryce Young as the number 1 overall pick. I don't know. All right. Positions on the Eagles as I believe the roster's set. We're also going to take a look at week 2 of the NFL. Our guy, Gary Cobb from Fox 29 in Philadelphia, will join us as well. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show. That's a reminder. Tone, well done, my friend. As a matter of fact, I talked to Greg from Hooters today, man, and my friend said it just right. Absolutely, man. Hey, we're looking forward to being able to go to Hooters and have a great time this year. This is the official home of Hooters. 40th anniversary, 7 locations in the Northeast area. Please go to northeasthooters.com. I love it how Tone does that for me, man. It's a great reminder. And again, we're going to be doing so many great appearances at the King of Prussia one. Please come out and join us. Don't forget also, this is going to be your official home for the entire season for all Eagle fans to come up and see us in King of Prussia. Remember, go to northeasthooters.com. If you're getting your fantasy drafts together this week, please call ahead, reserve some tables. This is a place for you. The iconic Hooter girls are going to be there to serve you. Tuesdays, buy 10 wings, get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, a 40-year tradition that they have, 1983 on Saturdays. Kids eat for free. How about this? 6 items, $6. Fried pickles, man, you're going to absolutely love the steamers. Get the sandwiches there too, man. You're just going to fall in love with it. northeasthooters.com. Find one of the 7 locations nearest you. You can also go over to my Twitter page, at Dan Sileo Show, to see where we're going to be in town so you can come up and have a cold one with us. And when you go to Hooters, do me a favor. Make sure you tell them Big Sil sent you.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com. Eagles. Eagles.
I think Jerry Jones loves to hear himself talk. Hour number 2, please hit the like button. Gary Cobb, bottom of the hour. He says this is the best year when it comes to our chances to win the Super Bowl. He said it last year. He said it the year before that. He said it the year before that. You can go back and chronicle. He's been saying it for the last 10 years. You want to hear something crazy? The Dallas Cowboys have not been out of the divisional round in 28 years. They haven't won a divisional game. Do you hear what I said? They haven't won a divisional game in 28 years. And he's telling us that this is the best chance they have to get to the Super Bowl. You haven't won a divisional game. 28 years. I mean, the Cowboys are the Joel Embiid Sixers. Get out of the first round before you start talking championships to me. Crazy. This is the best year. Jerry, I would have put a reverse juju on it. We'll see. Eventually, we've got to get there. I'm tired of saying it. I think that'd put more gas on the pedal. I mean, shit, dude. Got to do something different. Do I think the Cowboys have a good team? I do. I think you get in the way. Dude, the worst thing that you can possibly have is someone getting in your way when it comes to you building a house, a business, your career. How many people hate that? I can't tell you the most frustrating thing in broadcasting is people getting in the way. Constantly getting in the way. That's why I don't have a partner and I never will. Always getting in the way. Everyone has an opinion on everything. Screw that. I'm the Titanic. I'm either going to sail to New York or I'm going to the bottom of the ocean. But I'm putting it there. In harbor or in the bottom of the sea. I ain't having anybody ride that ain't working for me. Okay? People get in the way all the time. I can't tell you how many times I've been hired at places. Hey, let's try this. Let's do this. Let's put this here. And you're like, why did you hire me? I don't do any of that shit. Get out of the way, Jerry. Get out of the way. Hey, you want to hear this? Jerry Jones' biggest accomplishment in the last 30 years has been beating the Eagles. The Eagles' biggest accomplishment in the last 30 years is going to 2 Super Bowls, numerous NFC title games, and winning a Super Bowl. There's the difference. That's totally the difference. All right, before I get to this second topic here, hey, by the way, I want to underscore this. On that James Jones conversation we had last hour, do I think Justin Fields should be compared to Jalen Hurts? No, I do not. Do I think Justin would play better in Philly? Yeah, with talent around him, I do. But would he win as many games? I don't know that. I've seen great quarterbacks with great talent get into big games and shit the bed. That doesn't mean that. I don't know that yet. I haven't seen him in a meaningful NFL game yet. I saw Josh Jacobs is going to be in Raider camp for the opening week of the NFL season. Sign his franchise tag and all that. I'll tell you how I would handle that if I was a player that got a franchise tag. You want to make business decisions? So am I. I'm not playing 100%. I mean, I'm not playing at 97% or 90% for you. I'm not going the extra mile for you. Just put Mozzie Smith that knows we'll run for 200 yards. I agree. If I'm Josh Jacobs, I'm not playing hurt. Why would I? You're going to make business decisions on my career? So am I. You don't like it? Trade me. I'm a franchise tag player. Now, this doesn't work for everybody, but if you're going to tag me 10.1 million, you're right. I'm not going to pass 10 million up, but I ain't playing through injury for you. Why in the world would I? Why would I put my ass on the line for you when you're not for me and you're not being committed? Why should I? Keon goes like this. He's right. Why should I put up bad tape when I'm hurt for you and I'm playing through pain? And someone goes, oh, he's a lesser player now. Why should Saquon Barkley play through pain and injury for the Giants when they're going to get rid of him in the offseason? They tried trading him anyway. Why would he do that? I wouldn't. I gotta try to preserve my career. I got to preserve, right? You want to make business? You want to know how to send a relationship sideways? Greatest example. So if I'm 92%, I'm going to go to my trainers and go, I'm not playing. We need you. I don't give a shit what you need. I needed a 3-year contract with guaranteed money, signing bonus. You don't want to do it. You want to make business decisions? Don't work on my emotions and my passion for the game. That's what these guys do. They tear at your emotions, and then they use the fans for you to talk shit on Josh Jacobs. Well, he's not a team guy. Okay, he's not a team guy. Your owner's not a team guy. Owner's doing what's best for the team. Well, I'm doing what's best for me. I don't have a problem with that. And if I was in that Raider locker room, I would totally understand that. Okay? Totally understand that. Quan goes, NFL teams are not giving those kind of deals anymore. Okay. Well, I gotta worry about one thing then, Quan. Getting as many years as I possibly can. Making the max that I can. So playing injured and putting bad tape up is not something I'm interested in. What you do is you cut away the loyalty of the player to the organization and his commitment. Congratulations. I don't have a problem with it. I'm for a player getting as much money, maximizing his ability and the length of his career as much as possible. And if that means you don't like it, I don't like that you didn't give me a 3-year contract. And to Quan's point, you're not doing it? Well, I'm not playing through pain. Well, I'm trading you. Fantastic. Maybe a new relationship on a new zip code would be better for both of us. And then you're the lesser team. So you're going to trade away the NFL rushing champion because you don't want to pay him and you're not loyal to him. Sound. All right. Danny, you sound like Harden now. My money's not guaranteed, Barb. I don't have $250 million in the bank. If I had $250 million, Barb, guaranteed cash, and I had guaranteed money in a max deal in the NBA, I'd light my hair on fire for you. I would play with broken bones for you. My money's not guaranteed if I'm a back. They cut me tomorrow, take a cap hit, and I'm out. Okay? They should trade Jacobs. Absolutely. Trade his ass. Philip goes, James Harden snapped in Japan. Yeah, because you know why? All of his financial backers are in Japan. They're not in America. China, you know, Asia loves basketball. That's why the players are all over there. NBA's finances and money come from Asia now. So wait a minute now. You got smaller businesses investing in the NBA. You got American Express. And just look at the advertisers. What the NBA has compared to the NFL. That's how you know. Look at golf. Why do you think Live Rolex? You ain't going to see too many Popeye commercials on a PGA event. For the record, I like the spicy. Let's get to the second topic here. I believe the rosters are set for probably 90% of the teams. The Eagles, I would say this too. The Eagles are probably down to 51 players that probably have it figured out of the 53. What's more of an issue right now for the Eagles in Howie? The linebacker position or the backup quarterback? What is a bigger concern as we start the season for the Eagles? Guys are not going to play in this final exhibition game. You're going to see a lot of the backups. You may not even see Jordan Davis, and you may not even see Jalen Carter. But what is more of a problem right now for the team? The linebacker position, Miles Jack retired. Miles Jack probably just did this. He went home. He saw that Zach Cunningham is playing better than him, and he is. Zach Cunningham should be the starting will linebacker over Nicholas Morrow. Morrow's probably playing better than him too, and the Eagles see it. You can always tell where you are in the depth chart. And Miles Jack has had a ton of injuries in his career, and they all probably went like – he probably just went, you know, I got money stacked away, tucked away. I'm just going to call it. So he retired. Kind of puts him in a lurch a little bit, not much, especially if a guy's not going to make the team anyway. Probably wasn't a decision. Now, could he have helped special teams? Miles Jack's not going to play special teams. You know what happened to Miles Jack? Miles Jack realized other players were outperforming him. And for him to be on the team, he would have to play special teams, and he ain't doing it. And I get it. He just went, I'm not doing that. And I'm not walking the bench for Kobe Dean. He probably thinks he's better. They don't see it that way. Okay? He's probably getting calls to try to come out of retirement, but I mean, once you make that thing and you look at yourself and you go, hey man, look, you know my short career. I had 7 years of pro ball, but I had to go all over the world to play. Eventually you look in the mirror and you go, that's it. The shittiest thing on the planet is to look in the mirror and go, nah, man, I'm 36 years old. I'm in Canada, and I'm like this playing with the Las Vegas. Hey, guys, I'm playing with the Las Vegas Posse in the Canadian League, CFL, and I'm like this. And I love Ron. I love Ron Myers. You know, I was supposed to play for him at SMU, and I wanted to end it there. And 4 games in, and I go like this. Nah, I'm finished. My wife goes, are you sure? I had made the team. And I just went like this. Back up to a guy named Roy Hart. I was like, oh, man. 35, 36. I was like, come on, man. I walked in the office and said, I'm out. Got my last month's check and walked home. Okay? Seals, you thought the same about – dude, Nakobe Dean is not Sam Mills. He doesn't play like him. He doesn't look like him. He's short, but he was a 500-pound bench presser. Nakobe Dean looks like a safety. Okay? Sam Mills, my cousin Dave Pazzulli played with him when he was in camp in Cleveland. He said he saw this guy do 450 for reps on the bench. This guy was a monster. This guy was a shorter version of, what's the guy in Pittsburgh? What was the guy's name? James Harrison, when it came to strength. Sam Mills was, dude, whatever. I'm not getting into this Nakobe Dean conversation. All you have to do is watch his last game. This guy has false steps the same way Mozzie Smith does. He puts himself out of position. That's why they ran the ball down their throat. My issue is both of these issues. The linebacker position, I think Zach Cunningham is not bad. If I were the offensive coordinators, I would attack that group because they're not very good. Okay, that's not a very good group, so I am concerned. And Dean was poor last week. Completely out of position numerous times against a second and third O-line. Okay? New England's going to have a better O-line. Now, I'll take that back. New England doesn't have a better frontline O-line than Cleveland. Cleveland's a better O-line. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis got knocked off the ball by that second group, that Brown group. Linebackers, the backup doesn't play the Patriots week 1. I don't recall too many big runs when Nakobe was in there. Kenny, they had a 14-play drive. Here's Kenny not understanding once again. Okay? Bro, they had a 14-play drive to open the game. What are you talking about? They had 31 plays to 12 in the first quarter alone. 100 total yards versus 28. Did you not see that? You were watching a mirage. They ran the ball. Toys Go Sills bring on OG Wade. I mean, what are you talking about? A punch-out play doesn't mean you played well when you're getting knocked off the ball. Oh my God. I'm not going to continue this conversation. He's got to do more. The linebacking core alone is not good enough. So I think that's a major concern for them. That's a major concern. Morrow was terrible in Chicago. He's not played that poorly. He's not played that poorly. Okay? He hasn't. So, yeah. And for me, the backup quarterback position, I do think is a problem. Now, I've said this last week, and I'll continue to do and say this one more time. I don't think the backup is in the NFL. And before I get Gary Cobb on here, I want to set this up. Finding a guy like Jalen Hurts is one of the most impossible things to find when you're finding a dual threat guy who can pass the ball and run the ball. How many of those guys do you think actually exist in today's NFL? None. I don't think the backup is in the NFL. He may not be even in college. I think one of the biggest things that Howie's going to have to find is the backup. I think that kid, Snoop Hundley up in Baltimore, is a perfect backup for Lamar Jackson. He is finding that guy. Like some people go like this. Well, let's put Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan couldn't run that offense. He tried that with Gardner Minshew last year, and the thing was a train wreck. Finding that backup is going to be a chore for Howie Roseman. Let's bring in our friend from Fox 29. Always around the team, our dear friend Gary Cobb. Gary, am I right? I mean, I think Howie finding that backup quarterback, I know the sentimental stuff is all about Nick Foles and some of these other guys, but you got to bring a guy in, right, that fits that skill set and the players that are on the team. I bring this up to people about the Miami Dolphins situation. Finding a backup for Tagovailoa, people don't realize he's left-handed. The entire team would have to be changed over. And that's why you don't see a lot of left-hand quarterbacks in the NFL. So do you agree that backup quarterback, he may not even be in the NFL? What would you do? Stick with Mariota, or would you try something else?
Well, you would like to get a quarterback that has, similarities and everything. But even more important than that, you need somebody that can play. I mean, you can't have it where a guy can't hit, easy throws. I mean, the guys that are open, got the tight end over the middle, wide open, throw the ball way over his head. And I know you want to have a guy who's got, similar abilities so you don't have to change everything. But I think the thing that is more important than that is you got to have somebody who's an effective quarterback. I mean, if guys are open. So, look at the McKee. I mean, he was more effective, even though, he's not a guy that really can run. He really can't run the option. That's that sort of thing. So, but he was making the read fast. He was getting the ball out of his hands. He was accurate with his throws. That's more important than having somebody that can run. I mean, if it's just somebody that can run, well, you figure you could get a kid off the street who can run, but that doesn't mean he can play quarterback. So I think that he's got to be effective. And that's why Mariota, initially they come forward and go, Mariota's our guy and everything. Look, Mariota's not a guy. If he's turning the ball over and he's thinking up the joint, you can't go with a quarterback like that. You want to go with a quarterback with similar abilities. You want to, but that doesn't mean you can. You might have to go with a guy that's playing well. I mean, and say
do
what
you
you
wait
want.
for someone to get cut, Gary, in the last cuts? That
Most
maybe
definitely.
like the kid from Cleveland, that Robinson kid. He's fourth on the depth chart in Cleveland. Maybe he gets cut.
You're going to sit there and you're going to wait. I mean, and you're going to be ready to pounce, even if you got to make a trade. Maybe you do have to trade for somebody that's got two good backups, and you trade for one of them. I think that's what you got to do. If Mariota doesn't start playing better, and it's not just in the games, but in practice, you see him out there going like, come on, man. It just seems like he's just not I don't know if he's lost his confidence. He clearly has played the game long enough to where he knows, okay, this is my first read, this is my second read, this is my third read. And then you got to get on top of the ball. It just seems like all of his balls are sailing.
How about this, Gary?
Yeah.
Maybe it accentuates just how hard it is to do what Jalen's doing, because I've seen Mariota play in Las Vegas with the Raiders. I didn't think he was horrible. I saw him down in Atlanta. I didn't think he was horrible, putting in a different role. Maybe, could it be what Jalen does is what makes him so unique, is that finding that guy. That was my point, kind of in a way, that, it could be this kid. He showed signs in Tennessee too. He's not stunk, but like you said, you're hearing it in practice too, that he's not being efficient. Yeah. Then you see it translate into the games. I'm just wondering if you're the coaching staff, you're like, hey man, this just shows you what Jalen does, how incredibly difficult it is what Jalen's doing.
Well, I think there's some truth to that, but I also think that they maybe told him not to run because that's the way he seems. He looks like the way he's been playing is, first option, it's like he doesn't even get to the second option. He's taking off and he can run. Now that's the one thing that you see you going like, this dude can run. So that's where he fits the, as the backup for Jalen, is because he does have that threat. But, you got to give the play a chance, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you got at least, to me, you got to at least get to that second option. First option, second option. Maybe you don't get to the third, and then you take off. But it's like he looks at the first guy, and it's also, it seemed like he was just dialed in on one or two guys, and you just.
Oh, it's got it. It's Gary. Yeah. It's got to get better. Let me throw you over here. Olumi Zadeas looks like he's going to be the third wide receiver, and it looks like he's going to beat Quez out. Your take on that? You know, to me, I think this comes down to jump footballs. I mean, when I watch Quez go up, I don't see a fighter. You know, this kid here from Atlanta, I think maybe shows a little bit more, but give me your spin that he's lost his job.
Well,
And the way he's lost it too.
Well, you know, the kid from Atlanta, he can run too.
He
you
can
know,
run,
I don't think you know, maybe he's not as fast as Quez, but he can run. So you've got that speed there. You do have a you know, deep threat, which is what you want. They want to have a guy who is a threat to go deep. That way, it kind of opens everything up for you know, the top two receivers. But the thing that Quez is just, you know, you're trying to get him to step up and take the job. He won't step up and take the job. You know, it just, you know, again, with I don't know whether it's confidence, but they know this year that they're tired of the games. I mean, they want somebody that they can rely on. And I don't know if Quez makes the team, if he's a starter, if he's not a starter. You know, I don't know if he.
Why isn't he on special teams?
Well, you know, he has been a kick returner. Now he has done that, but
I mean, is it because they don't think he's tough enough?
It might be that, and maybe they don't trust him as a punt returner. I don't know if they trust him back there. He has returned kickoffs, but I haven't seen them really where they put him in there consistently as a punt returner, because as a punt returner, you have got to be sure-handed. I mean, because you're going to be catching the ball with people standing around you. And if you have a fair catch, a lot of times those guys are standing around you. So if you don't catch the ball, you know, you're turning it over, and you can't afford that. You cannot afford, especially with the position change and everything. If you're not catching the ball as a punt returner, then you are not a punt returner.
No, I would say this too. I mean, I get he's got a hamstring, but I don't think usually with good players, you're going to be patient and wait for him. I think that equity's gone. I don't think they're waiting for him. And I think that he's lost that equity in the building. And just because he had some nice, you know, OTAs and such, I think what they're saying with the kid from Atlanta, I think they're going to go like, probably, how much say do you think Jalen has in this?
I could imagine he could be, you know, if he really believed in somebody, you know, if he believed in a guy, if he was his guy. I don't know that he has that kind of rapport with Quez to where he would stick his neck out that far for him. What has Quez done to really establish that? I haven't seen it. When he's done it, it hasn't been in the games. I've been looking at the practices. It hasn't been in practice. So I don't think he has that type of rapport with Jalen. So I just think it's as much as they've done. See, they were playing all the games during the offseason. You know, Quez did this, Quez did that. I'm going like, I was out there. What did Quez do? You know, they wanted to kind of boost him up. That's why I think Nick came out at the end of one of the camps, you know, oh, Quez. I'm going like, what is this? You know, what is this, confidence building? That's what they were trying to do.
It totally was confidence building.
That's
Gary, how concerned are you with the linebacking core? Miles Jack calls it a career. You know, it comes to a time when you're looking in your dorm room, when you're sitting there and you know the time has finally come. You got to make that call to yourself there first before you call the team up. But the linebacker core, man, I mean, it's really iffy right now for me. And for me, it is a little bit because I look at it and I'm like, Cunningham's played well. I still see false steps with Dean. I just think that's got to do with reps. So,
yeah.
I mean, now you get an injured Hassan Reddick. I mean, how do you look at the core?
Well,
are you concerned?
You know, Reddick, I wouldn't even put him in the linebacker.
Yeah, true.
Because he's really one of the pass rushers. But really, you know, it is something that you look at and, you know, you could feel good about it, that it's going in the right direction. Like they really liked, you know, for N'Kobe to make that play, the play he made the other night and everything. But they just want to see consistency. You know, that's what they've got to do, is they got to be consistent about what they're doing. And I think it's going to take them some time because he really hasn't played a lot. It's just that simple. I mean, they let him play some. He is going to have to learn on the run, and they hope that he's going to play well. And, also with Cunningham, they wanted, that these guys are going to play well together. But
Gary, they ran the ball right down their throat with 2s and 3s offensive linemen in that game on Thursday night.
mm-hmm.
And there was a 14-play drive. I get the punch out and all, but
yeah,
I mean, Dean and Carter played in the triangle, and they got knocked off the football. I mean, if it wasn't for that punch out, I mean, the first quarter was this. They ran 32 plays, had 100 yards. The Eagles had 12 plays and 25 yards. I mean, they dominated them with the 2s and 3s. I mean, everybody in Philly came away going, well, the punch out was, and I'm like, yeah, well, that's not how I saw that. I saw false steps and DTs and linebackers, not in the right positions.
Well, it's definitely not what you would have hoped for. When you see the consistency, that's the thing. Well, and they're looking at it and saying, well, he hasn't played a lot. So I
think it's reps too, Gary. I think it's reps too.
Yeah.
He needs the reps.
I think he needs a rep. But right now, you look over, they look on their finger, they're married.
Oh, yeah.
So that, because I don't know where they're going to go right now. So they're figuring, hey, we're married to this kid. Right now, we think he's going to come through for us and everything. But right now, I don't see where they're going to go.
Right? We're here late August. There ain't no going back. You've walked down the aisle here.
Yeah, and that's why they wanted to get out and get some experience playing beside him,
Yeah.
So we will see. And, they've got some guys in front of him that should be, really strong and tough in the middle and everything. So we will see. But right now, it's too late.
Too late to do it. And I completely agree. How would you play this last exhibition game? Again, I guess in our time, it was either 4 or 5 when it came to preseason games. So this is kind of like the dress rehearsal was really last week.
Hey.
So this is now, are you looking now
Nope.
for like 52, 53? Are you still trying to put together your safety rotation? Are you looking at maybe rosters around the league for more linebacker help? I mean, how are you looking at this last week here if you're Howie?
Well, they're looking around. If there's somebody that they like, they definitely will look out there and grab because they are looking. But right now, they're going to play this practice tomorrow and everything. Hey, but training camp is over as far as I'm concerned. I mean, and what they do on Thursday night, they're going to have kids out there, trying to make the team and everything. But for the most part, most everything, the decisions have been made.
Oh, yeah. Would you say we're 97% pretty much? We're probably down to the 51 are set. They're probably looking at the last 2 to try to add on what they're going to do. Does this week come down to this, Gary, in your opinion, on how the Eagles and Howie works? Because this. What happens is an O-lineman or O-line coach, a D-line coach, linebacker coach, a safety coach, all those coaches get into the final week meeting on the roster being set. They petition to carry 6 or 7 linemen, O-linemen, maybe 7 or 6 D linemen, and the head coach and the personnel people have to make the decision on who they're going to carry more, right?
That's right.
That's kind of what we're doing this week on figuring out who are we going to carry more on? O-linemen, D linemen, linebackers, safeties. Is that what this is about this week?
That's what it's about. And some of the guys in there, depending on how strong they are, they could put their neck out there for somebody to say, hey, look, I really believe in this kid. I really, go in there and really fight for him. And then ultimately, of course, it's not their call, though. That's not their decision. They're going to go in and make their, make some type of argument for their guy. And then ultimately, it's the people, it's not the assistant coaches that are making the call, though, and Howie's got to sit in there, and ultimately it's Howie's decision. So he will make the call, but they got to go in come in there with their case. It's like, the judge and the lawyers coming in there before the judge. You got to come in there and make your case for a guy. And
How much
then
is Nick's
they'll be
influence?
looking other places too. What's that?
How much is Nick's influence in there?
Well, I think Nick is in there. Yeah, Nick has a strong say about something, and I think he's in the same position as the assistant coaches. Only, of course, he's got more of a say. But if he really believes in somebody he can go in there, Howie, say, "Doggone Howie, I believe in this guy. We got to keep him. We cannot let this kid go. Whatever. We're going to hang in." And so he's going to give his opinion, but ultimately it's Howie's decision who stays and who goes. But he's going to listen, and I think he does a lot better job now of listening to the assistant coaches and even some of the scouts to get their input as to which way he should go. And I think he makes some good decisions because ultimately he leans on them.
Two last questions for you. Okay, well, that being said, where would you be more apt to carry more on, O-line or D-line right now?
I probably would say the D-line. I think that the D-line has been very impressive, and I think that they've got some guys on the offensive line that are really flexible. The young kid that they drafted, what came in initially, they were going to have him just playing at guard,
Steen.
battling for that job. What's that?
Tyler Steen.
That's right. That kid has really been impressive at a number of positions. So
Steen, Kelly, and Driscoll will probably be the backups, right? Out of the five. And then
guys that are versatile. See, those guys are versatile. So that allows you, to have them do more things. So I think defensively, they have some guys that really, I think, have come in and really earned it. And because of that flexibility that you have up on the offensive line, that I think they probably could keep less guys.
Final question for you. I heard that Aaron Rodgers is going to play in the final preseason game for the Jets against
I heard it too,
the Giants. I think it is probably another reason why he wants to do that. Would you give Jalen at all a rep, or would you give him a series, or it's just not going to happen because of what went down last year against the Jets? They're not going to have any of that. And because of what we're talking about when we talked a little earlier about the backup position, you can't have this guy nicked up in any way going into the regular season. What would you do, Gary? Okay. I think I probably got the answer there to that one. All right. What'd you say, Tone? We're not going to see Jalen Hurts in the final preseason game. I don't believe that we're going to. Hey, Roland, I think Cobb pretty much gave me the answer on what we're looking at there. So yeah, that's and we're not seeing Hurts at all. I don't think so either, man, because I'll tell you this, maybe if they would have had more of a quality backup, we would have saw a little bit of Jalen this exhibition season. And if people had been playing a little bit better behind Jalen, maybe he would have seen it there. All right, folks, don't forget, hey, we are so looking forward to our friends at Hooters this year. We cannot wait. It's the 40th anniversary of our friends at Hooters. All great 7 locations in the Northeast area. Go to northeasthooters.com to find that location nearest you. We are going to be doing a ton of things with our friends at King of Prussia. Go over to @Dan Sileo Show. You'll be able to see the Big Sills Philly tour on us being in town each and every single month. We invite you to come out and have a cold one. By the way, if you're putting your fantasy drafts together, this is your place to go to. Again, northeasthooters.com to find that location nearest you. Make a call to get those draft parties. Seats are limited. This is the official home of all Eagle fans, the King of Prussia, and all the Northeast Hooters for you to go to and have yourself a great time. The iconic Hooter girls are going to be serving you Tuesdays by 10 wings. Get 10 boneless free. Wing Wednesdays, one of the traditions that we've had for over 40 years now. 1983, all you can eat. Kids eat for free on Saturdays. 6 items, plus the weekday specials we have. 6 items, $6. Put your favorite draft together. Try the fried pickles. You'll absolutely love it. NortheastHooters.com. Don't forget, King of Prussia. Can't wait to see all of our great friends there. And when you go to Hooters, do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I love the Little League World Series. I just love it. My daughter watches it. I love how they're implementing the major league guys talking with the kids. I mean, it's one of the best things that ESPN does. You have the baseball legends talking to these kids, and they're looking at their idols, and you know how motivating that is to meet your idol or to talk to your idol. You're sitting there talking to a major leaguer or a big league guy, and you're inspiring. You're inspiring when you do that. You're inspiring a whole generation of youth. And for the first time, Major League Baseball is actually doing something that they haven't done in 40 years. They're reaching out to the youth of America again. When I was a kid growing up, every Major League Baseball team you couldn't wait for April. All the parks, you saw kids playing baseball. You don't see that anymore. Nobody plays baseball anymore. It's not fashionable. It's too boring. But now what you're doing is you're using your superstars to promote the game. Good. It's about time. You know what the average fan age is of Major League Baseball? Bob Nightingale told me this. 54 years of age. That's the average age of a Major League Baseball fan. 54. Got to get that. You got to think 28, 25. That's why the demo, and you don't have advertising like you did back in the day. I think that's dope. I think it's I think it's cool seeing these young kids being motivated by superstar players like Bryce Harper and guys like that. I do. And for a guy like Bryce Harper, he embraces the game. He loves the history of the game. By the way, he came up with the coolest thing that I never thought of. And man, it would take someone who loves the game to think something like this up. The baseball Hall of Fame inductions. Why don't you play a game that week? The NFL does. I never thought about it. You know, they have that game now in the cornfield. Why wouldn't you have a game in Cooperstown? I mean, it just makes all the sense in the world. You have a Major League Baseball game the week of the inductions of baseball's Hall of Fame. My God almighty, man, it would triple the attendance. It would triple the viewership. You're in the present and in the past. You get to promote your past and you get to promote your present at the same time. Bryce Harper's idea. I just love it, man. I love that stuff. I mean, I just love the history of sports. I do. Top of the hour, we'll talk about week 2 of the NFL. Let me throw something at you here. Would you be interested in bringing Jason Peters in as a backup offensive lineman for the Eagles? Be his 20th year. And by the way, is Jason Peters a first ballot Hall of Famer? Boy, so when I put the list together in 5 years after this year, Jason Peters.
According to Spatrack.com, Jason Peters signed a 4-year.
He's 41. 9-time Pro Bowler. Jesus. Rhymini. 9-time Pro Bowler. Would you bring Jason Peters in so he could be a guy that could be a backup for you, and would he do it to end his career in Philly? I still think he's a good football player. Man, I mean, who better to bring in than Jason Peters to make sure that your tackle position is covered with Mulata and Lane if something went down? Someone's going to sign that guy. Why not Philly? Why not you? Get him before some... Dude, why not? You're not asking him to start. And I doubt that Peters wants to go to a place that's going to win 4 games. You know what I mean? Some go like this. Well, Sills, he's going to want to start. Okay, where's that? What championship football team right now is going to have Jason Peters come in right now with 2 weeks left to start the season and start at 41? No one. 9-time Pro Bowler. All 2010s team. Super Bowl ring. Why not end it in Philly, man? Why not end it in Philly? Watch this. Jack Driscoll, Jason Peters. I don't know. Or how about that? Wait, not Jack, because I could swing him anywhere. Dennis Kelly, Jason Peters. Who you feel comfortable with? Okay? Dude, you know you're the GOAT when teams call you and you're 40 and beg you to come out of retirement. That's the GOAT. I don't want to play anymore. Come on, man. 1 more year. Nah, I don't want to play, man. I don't want to. Dude, I wish to God. You know what the ultimate fantasy? You know what the ultimate fantasy is for every player? I called it a career. I don't want to play. Please. Nah, I don't want to play. Dude, man, I wish I was him. That I could just go like this. I'm going to call my own. I'm going to call it, I'm making the call, you ain't. Jason Peters is one of those dudes that he gets to call it when he wants. Those are GOAT dudes. When you get to, like Jason Kelsey, that's a GOAT. You want to, hey, we want you to play 1 more year, please. I don't know, man. I'll get back to you in a week. What? I'm praying for people to call my phone. And he's going, I'll get back to you. We'll give you a raise, $15 million. It ain't about the money. Okay, so it's not about the money, and you get to call your own putt. Shit. Man, I wish I was Jason Kelsey. I mean, you can't have it with more respect than that. That's the ultimate sign of respect. Hey, we really love to have you come in and play some ball for us this year. Yeah, I don't know. Here's $16 million. It ain't about the money. It's always about the money, dude. Nah, I've done everything I need to do. I'm just going to have to talk to my family. Let me see if I want to go through this bullshit again. Oh, okay. Do you know how many people get this? Here's 99% of us. Hey, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook. Here's Jason Peters. I want to play maybe one more year. How old are you? 57. Okay. There's probably 5 teams out there now calling him. Probably, I want to play in some team's going to win 4 games. He's probably hoping the Eagles call him. Brian goes, I don't think Peters can play guard. I thought he played a little guard for the Cowboys last year. I thought he dropped down to guard a few times for them too when Zach Martin got banged up a bit. I thought he went down in there a little bit. Okay. I agree with bringing Sue back for another run. Sue's not going anywhere until the season starts. He ain't going into training camp. You think a guy like that's going to roll in there for training camp? All right. Hey, so Justin Jefferson said something that I thought you might be interested in. You think Justin Jefferson has it in for the Eagles? I think Justin Jefferson has it in for the Eagles. Now, you know me. I'm a conspiracy guy. Okay? I'm a conspiracy dude. And by the way, I see people going, he played for Dallas. Dude, nobody ever is going to go, Jason Peters was a Cowboy. I don't give a shit. What happened last year? That guy's not a Cowboy. They paid him. That's how I look at it. He's a Philadelphia Eagle. He ain't no Cowboy. So what, man? Big freaking deal. That guy's a Philadelphia Eagle. There's not going to be anybody go. That's like going like this. Well, Michael Jordan, he's a wizard. Really? You really look at Michael Jordan as a wizard? Really? You look at Jordan? I would never even say that. Michael Jordan, did he play in Washington? I don't remember that. I have no idea where Jefferson's topic is going, but if I were the Eagles, I would send Jefferson a postcard saying, wish you were here. Tone, I think this guy has an ass for Philly passing on him. He was asked the question, who the best route runners in the NFL are at wide receiver. And this is who he said. Number 5, Jamar Chase, Bengals. Number 4, Stephon Diggs, Bills. Number 3, Keenan Allen, Chargers. And number 1A and number 1B, according to Justin Jefferson. Jefferson A, Devontae Adams, B. I don't see any Eagle receivers on this thing. He said the rest were decent route runners. I wouldn't put the word decent around Devontae Smith as a route runner. As a matter of fact, I happen to think that Devontae Smith is a better route runner than Stephon Diggs. I think Jamar Chase rounds his routes off. Keenan Allen probably runs as good a route as Devontae does. Smith. Do you know who taught him in college? Wes Chandler. This guy knows how to run routes. When he was at Cal, Wes Chandler was there. Wes Chandler could break some light bulbs on a scoreboard. Okay. He could break some light bulbs. Smitty said he models his route running ability to Keenan Allen. Huh? Holds him in high regard. I did not know that. Yeah, Wes Chandler, my dear friend, he's a Gator. I have to put that out there. Taught Keenan Allen how to run routes. Precise route runner. I don't see any Eagles on here. Where are the Eagles? Death row. He's not better than Devontae Adams. Nobody said he's better. Who runs a better route? This is not better. This is according to Justin Jefferson, the receivers that run the best routes. I would have put Cooper Kupp up there too. I think Cooper Kupp runs a good route. Keenan, this ain't my take. This is Justin Jefferson's take. Okay, more disrespect on Hurts from the national media. Not Big Sills. I know some of you like to throw this on me. You get Tone all worked up. You think it's me. It's more disrespect on Jalen. Hate to do it. Week 2 of the NFL. Yeah, I didn't. Hey, that thing with James Jones, that wasn't my take. I got it. There's more disrespect for Hurts coming from the national media. Okay? Tell me what you think. Hour number 3. Hit the like button. Power Hour. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Kerry Richardson just ran a 10.66 in Budapest. World Championships in 100 meters. Unbelievable. I mean, some of these women today in track and field, Sha'Carri Richardson, spectacular. I mean, 10.66. She did it in Budapest an hour ago. Good for her, man. World champion. That's picking them up and putting them down. Okay? That's insanity, man. Point blank. Now let her in the Olympics. Absolutely, man. She is just wow. We have so many talented women. I think it's tougher to make the U.S. women's track team than it is to win an Olympic medal. We have so many gifted athletes. It's tougher to make the U.S. team. Bob Kersey told me this. I'm friends with Bob Kersey. He follows me on Twitter, and he's the UCLA coach. And he said it's tougher to make the U.S. team than it is to win a gold medal. So congratulations to her, man. She can flat out pick them up and put them down. Tremendous. So now the 49ers are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. You see, Trey Lance was better. Is Trey Lance a starting quarterback in the National Football League? We're going to get to week 2 of the NFL here in a minute. But absolutely not. So he was better, man, in moments. Just not good enough. Now, before I get to the disrespect, and it's not from me, on her, this thing continues with Jalen. Okay? What Georgia Bulldog on the Eagles will be the first Pro Bowler? Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. Who will be the first Pro Bowler out of these 4 guys? Who will have the most Pro Bowls? Carter? Yeah, me too. I do. Hey, can Nolan Smith lead the NFL in sacks? Who could lead the NFL in sacks? Jalen Carter or Nolan Smith? Man, 4-3, right? 4-3. Carter's so good, man. Hey, I would say this to you. Okay, you talk about, and I'll even throw Nakobe in here. You talk about 4 really great athletic guys. I don't know if Dean's going to be a good linebacker, but I'll tell you something. Dean, Davis, Carter, Smith, there's one thing they do at Georgia. They recruit athletes. You got them dudes on your roster, your 85-man roster. Shit, dude. No wonder Georgia's got a ton of these guys still coming out in the pros every year. There is a ton of athleticism. I mean, if you're just going like this, okay, how athletic are those guys? Shit, let's just start how good of athletes they are. It's pretty good. You know, you have a guy like Zach Thomas, not the most gifted athlete on the planet. He's our tackling machine. He's really good. And you got Nakobe and Davis and Carter and Smith. These guys are really great athletes, man. They're totally great athletes. Okay. I put these 4 guys because I think these 4 guys are going to get more of an opportunity to start. Ringo too, you know, he could be something down the line. I think he's the lesser of everybody in there though. All right. So let me get to the disrespect to Jalen Hurts. Hey, Dan, you should do a top 10 Georgia players in the NFL. See, top 10 Georgia players. Chubb, Roquan. I'd have to think about that. But Chubb and Roquan are probably 1 and 2. Okay? I'll tell you this Kid Pickens. I think he's going to be a good player too. I think that Kid Pickens is going to be the Steelers' #1 wide receiver by the end of the year. I mean, I think, depending how good Kenny Pickett plays. Okay? I saw this before I went on the air. These are the quarterbacks that they think are going to have breakout big years in statistics at the quarterback position. Guys are going to put up big numbers this year that haven't put them up in the past. CBS's 5 quarterbacks that are going to have breakout years. I wouldn't say 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns a breakout year. It was a tick up from what he did the year previous. That's not going to be in the conversation with those guys. Watch this. Is it right? No. They look at the NFL player as a fantasy league. Do you get that? They look at players at that position strictly as passers, and I'm trying to expand it. Like that ridiculous conversation, Justin Fields being compared to Jalen Hurts. Okay, yeah, all right, he's a better athlete. Great. What's that mean at the end of the day? Really nothing. Really nothing. So here's who CBS says are just going to have massive breakout years. Number 5, do me a favor, please. No laughter yet. No, hey, this is not my list. Please, no laughter. Okay? Because the first one, I got to think there's going to be quite a bit of laughing. And I'm going to do my best. Number 5, Sam Howell, Washington Commanders, according to CBS, is going to have a massive season numbers-wise. Now, Antonio Gibson, the 2 wideouts. Okay? I mean, he's got players around him to do it. Sam Howell, they say could throw for almost 4,600 yards this year. Hey, sure. Hit the 4th one. I don't get it. But Anthony Richardson. Do you know what they're saying? He's going to put up numbers and he'll have a better season than Jalen Hurts. I was like, Pete Prisco said this. I was like, so Anthony Richardson. I mean, Jalen Hurts' completion percentage was in the 60s at least. This guy's 51. You think that guy is going to be a better passer in the NFL than he was in the Southeastern Conference? Boy, do I. Hey, look. I good luck to him. I hope he breaks every Peyton Manning record and Johnny Unitas record and Andrew Luck record in Colts history. Jim Irsay is like, this guy's unbelievable. They sat him last week. I'm like, why would you sit a guy like you're treating him like he's Joe Burrow or something? or Patrick Mahomes. This is CBS. Like, I wouldn't have put one of these guys on this list. You're going to love this one. According to Pete Prisco, Daniel Jones by the end of the year will be the best quarterback in the NFC East. Now, are they doing this shit to get the Eagle fans? I feel you're going overboard. Daniel Jones? Number 2. Now, I kind of see this. Jared Goff has worn on me. Could you see Jared Goff throwing for 4,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 12 wins this year? I can. He's done it. I mean, I wouldn't say breakout, though, right? This guy's already been to a Super Bowl. So breakout, I don't know. I mean, Jared Goff's worn on me. I did not like this player. I didn't think this player was that good. But I could see, has Jared Goff ever thrown for 4,500 yards? I don't think he's thrown for that. Maybe he did in LA. I don't know if he threw for 4,500. But he's put up some pretty decent years. I mean, I'm starting to warm up to him more and more every time I watch him. He's turned the Lions around. Jeff, I don't think he's thrown for that many yards. I don't even know if he's thrown for 4,000 yards. Probably with McVay, he's probably done that. But he had a really great year. Hey, and I'll say it one more time. That Jameson Williams kid, he's got to get healthy, and he's got to be smarter. Or that guy's career is going to be one of those careers where you looked at him and you went, what the hell happened to that kid? He was great in college. I mean, that guy was a baller in college. All I see is trouble and injury. He's never healthy. He had 4 last year. Thanks, Barb. He threw 46-88. Wow, 46-88 in 2018. That's quite a number. So breakout? So you think he's going to have a 5,000-yard passing year? I don't know. Maybe he does. And the number 1 quarterback who's going to have a spectacular season this year, according to CBS, is Brock Purdy. Okay. Dude, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and Sam Howell. Okay. Who do I think is going to have a great year putting up numbers? Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Geno? Geno probably. I think, didn't Geno lead the NFC in passing yards? Anybody else in the NFC have more passing yards than Geno? In the NFC? It could have been the guy in Minnesota. Nobody from the Brady could have been. Brady could have had 4,600. Brady could have led the NFC in passing yards. He could have led the NFC in passing yards. Yeah. He could have. Hey, you know what, JM? I don't think Jordan Love's had a bad camp. I actually think he's played pretty well. Russell Wilson's in the AFC now. I thought he had a pretty good camp. Jalen Hurts is going to lead the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns. You heard it here first. Okay. That means he'll have more picks. Remember that. This is not about touchdown passes and yards. This is about not turning the ball over. It's not about the great play. It's about protecting the football. So what would you rather – here, Tone, this is what I try to explain to people. Would you rather have a quarterback with 4,500 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, and 14 picks? Or would you rather have a quarterback with 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 5 picks? Who'd you rather have? And can run the ball. The running play is the least turnover play. So Jalen had, get this. So Jalen had, what did he throw the ball? 450 last year? He had 167 carries last year, I believe it was. If you think about it, Jalen Hurts was responsible with the ball in his hand for 617 attempts. How many attempts did Mahomes have last year? We talk about it. We talk about it off air all the time. Big Sills. Fantasy football has warped some fans' minds completely. Think about this, Tone. Jalen Hurts had 617 attempts, counting his rushing attempts, his passing attempts. How many passing attempts did Mahomes have last year? 650? Jalen had 5 turnovers. He had 11. Jalen will control a game more than most quarterbacks. Yeah, because he doesn't turn it over. CBS may want to test this guy for a drug use. Absolutely. Pete Prisco needs a drug test because I wouldn't even come up with that list. That's not a list that I'd put out there. I'll tell you that. That's not going to happen. All right. Quez Watkins, before I move on to week 2, I want to get to some NFL stuffs. What about Quez losing his starting job? Olamide Zaccheaus, the kid from Atlanta. What do you make of him losing his gig? Does that help or hurt the offense? Seals, your prediction on Jalen's numbers. Okay. You all right with that? You okay with that? He ain't getting $4,000 because you're going to have injuries this year. You're not getting that lucky. You get that lucky again. You okay with that? I can even see 200 carries. Maybe 800 yards. Had one Super Bowl ring at the bottom of that, and it's perfect. 29 touchdowns? Maybe. Sway. He misses games. He ain't playing 17 ball games. Let me know when he does. Let me know when Jalen plays a full season, and I'll change that number. He ain't playing 17. Okay? That's why Philly, you have to be sure who your backup is. Okay? You got to be sure who the backup is. He ain't playing 4 games. It's 17 games. Okay? He's never and he won't. He's not all of a sudden going to get healthier. Michael Vick, I don't even think ever played 16 ball games in his career. You want to hear something? In 18 years, Jim McMahon never played a full season. In 18 years in the league. I don't know if Cam did. If I'm being honest, I don't think 30 passing TDs is too much to ask for, especially if I expect him to get better. I like where his passing yards are, though. I would say this to you, Tone. If 30 touchdowns comes at the expense of 4 more interceptions, I don't want 30 touchdowns. Okay? I'd rather have the 4 timely interceptions back. Okay? I don't want the number you don't want to go up is the turnover number. Okay? The touchdown number. See, look, 22 touchdowns, 10 picks is awful. That's an awful number. 22 touchdowns and 6 picks plus the 10 rushers or 11 or 13, whatever it was, 13 rushing touchdowns. Dude, I mean, you're putting 35 TDs in the room. I'm good. Okay. I mean, I don't want 4 more great plays for 4 more shitty plays. Or I don't want 8 more shitty plays. Okay? Or 8 more great plays for 8 more shitty plays. That's not what I want. I'm not getting anywhere with that. As good as these guys throw the ball in today's NFL, I mean, you're asking for disaster. If you throw the ball 750 times in a game or in a year, that's what Brady did last year. Many of you think he had a horrible year. Look at how many attempts Brady had. And then get back to me on his turnovers. And he had a shitty team this year. Okay? Brady threw the ball for like 770 times and had like 6 picks or 9 picks. That's exceptional. It's exceptional. He threw the ball twice as many times as Jalen did and had 3 more turnovers. You put your team in a position to throw yourself out of trouble when you're like that. Okay? You never want to be over the 10 interception number because usually you're in a position where you're costing your football team opportunities to win. He'll sit out the last 2 regulars. He ain't going to be in that position, Chris. Not with that schedule. Absolutely not. You played a ton of shitty teams last year. This home field advantage this year is going to go right down to the last week. Mark my words. You're not going to be in that position. What's the reason the guy from Pittsburgh got fined for tackle? Is it because he launched into the player? Yeah, you can't leave your feet like that. You can no longer launch because they look at you using your head as a weapon. Can't leave your feet like that. Brady cares about winning. Don't give a crap about stats. Okay. Probably true. 22 TDs in a 17-game season is beyond trash. Well, I would say this. 12 games with 15 interceptions is beyond pathetic. Dak Prescott had 15 INTs in 12 games. I'm not sure what you think that is. I'd rather have 22 touchdowns in 17 games than 15 picks in 12. Not sure what you're talking about. It's beyond pathetic. Well, what's Dak's number? 12 games, 15 picks. Huh. Okay. You want to know what pathetic is? That's pathetic. Okay? Yeah, you're right. Jalen, I mean, and I'm not here to defend the 22, but for a Cowboy fan to sit there and throw shade on Jalen for 22 touchdowns, and then your guy in 12 games has 15 picks, I don't know where you're coming from. Okay? Yeah, Jalen didn't play 17 games. He missed 2. He played 15. That's even a better ratio. It is. He probably would have finished his – if Jalen were healthy, he'd have been right at 4,000, probably at 7 touchdowns, 7, 8 picks. He'd have thrown one in there somewhere. Okay, he probably would have thrown 1 or 2 in there somewhere. The one thing I love about Hurts, he doesn't fall in love with his arm, nor does he fall in love with him. The reason the Eagles win, he moves the chains, puts the ball where it needs to be. Well, again, Tone, when people use and talk like that, like what Tone just did, that's seeing the game. Okay. Again, it's a great line that Lincoln used. What's the point of knowing where due north is if you have forest in front of you and swamp and you don't take that into accountability? There's no point in knowing where due north is. You've got to be able to maneuver through the things that are in front of you first before you even can utilize due north. It's a great line by Lincoln. What's the point in knowing where to go if you overlook the things in front of you that will get in your way and stop you from having success? Okay? That's knowing the room. That's seeing in front of you. Well, they got an awful secondary. Oh, we're going to throw the ball. They got an awful front four. We're going to run the ball. That's a guy that does this, puts his ego in his back pocket and goes, well, if I get 145 yards, 172 yards passing, and I'm going to come up with 122 yards rushing, puts it all together, get a W, you win 38-14. What's the point? You got home. You knew what was in front of you. You knew the terrain. Okay? What's the point of just chucking the ball like Marino did when he never won anything of significance? What's the point of it? Marino knew to get the ball in the end zone. But Marino did not take into account the things in front of him that stopped him from having success in the critical moments when he needed it most. Those are the great ones. Now we're going to punt. We're going to punt. And we're going to punt. And we're going to turn this thing into a stupid game. And I'm going to win this bitch in the fourth. Because my time is coming. You know what these guys keep doing? They keep knocking at the door. They keep knocking at the door. They keep knocking at the door. They keep knocking at the door, knowing full well the door will open eventually. It's the persistence that gets Hurts home. It's not the talent, which he has. It's the persistence. Never saying, look, guys like him, for the personality he has, is rare. Because you know why? Most of those guys are dicks. How many of the legendary guys do you know were good folks? Tiger, Jordan, Brady. Most of those guys are short. They're arrogant. They put up with no crap. They see things one way. They're colorblind to the point, whatever that is in front of them. They got one objective in their mind. Everyone else is insignificant around them unless you're part of the process. Most of those guys are jackasses. I wouldn't consider Tiger and Michael Jordan good guys when they were competing, would you? Look at what Ali did to his opponents. Foreman and Frazier belittled them, insulted them, race baited them, did everything he could, and he was the villain. He didn't care if the media liked him. That wasn't the point. Okay? These guys are all like, and for Jalen to have that attitude, it's refreshing because usually guys like that are driven like that are just going to wait for their time to knock the door down, they're impatient. See, those are guys with no finish line. And what I mean by that is, and I tell people this all the time, if you're driven to be a successful human being, you have no finish line. There's no such thing as a finish line. You have the never-ending finish line. That's why Brady couldn't find it. And it was hard for him until he saw it. When Brady saw the finish line, it was impossible for him to go through it. That's why he balked the first time, cashed his wife and family in, and said, I have to get out of here. Brady had to retire for mental health reasons. He had to get out. Or it's going to drive him crazy. When you're in a sport like that, look at Marcus Mariota right now. Brady wouldn't shake hands. Guy's a jackass. Absolutely. You think he's shaking the hands of Eli Manning? The two most hated people in his life are Eli Manning and Nick Foles. Because you know why? Those are the two guys that took three of the most significant things away from him in his life. Not his wife, not his family, his Super Bowls. He hates those three guys. Not as people, but as obstacles. Brady doesn't look at people like that as people. They're obstacles. When you're around these psychotic people, you get an education on what it's like to be around driven folks like that. You're like, wow. Like being around Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's father died. There he was the next day at practice. And I was like this. What are you doing here, coach? Your dad died. Jerome and I are like this. What are you doing? He's like, you guys need me. I'm like, well, your kids need you too, and your family needs you. You know, I mean, you need to go to Port Arthur, man. He goes, no, I got to be here. We got to be. I go, coach, your dad died. Jerome, Winston Moss, myself, we're looking at him going, you need to go be with your family, man. His kids were there. His ex-wife, Linda Kay, was there, who's since passed away. Linda Kay was like this. He needs to go. These guys are psycho, man. And Brian, maybe that's what it was too. He needed to be around us because we revered him so much and loved him so much, and we still do. But we were all like, come on, man. I remember calling my grandpa going, his dad died last night. He's here the next day practicing. Let's go. I don't know who we were playing. Didn't matter. We were like, gee, go home. Got on a plane, came back one day he was gone. We were like, okay. I'm like, okay. Marino's 5K in 83 when the game was more predicted on running was remarkable. Also threw 47 TDs that year. I believe that's the year they got to the Super Bowl against the Niners too. I think it was the year they got to the Super Bowl against the Niners. I think, hey, Chris, it may have been 84. I don't know if it was 83. I think it was 84 that he did that because they were still in the Orange Bowl. I went to that game that night, Chris, Coach Shula invited us to the Bears game. If you guys, do you guys remember that it was this is for the older folks. The Bears were playing the Dolphins and the Bears were undefeated. And we had just played Florida State that weekend. Don came to us because they were still playing at the Orange Bowl, the Dolphins, and invited us to that Monday night game. And we all stood on the sideline. I stood on the sidelines for that Monday night game against the Bears. And we were at the Orange Bowl, and the Orange Bowl was rocking that night, and they beat the Bears. They upset them. I think they were 16-0. I think they were 16-0, and Coach Shula invited us all. And I think a handful of us got a chance to be on the sidelines. And we were on the sideline. I was standing on the sidelines for that Monday Night Football game. Don Meredith and Gifford and Cosell called that game, I believe. Those guys it was crazy. Oh yeah, the 72 Dolphin guys, Buonacani was on the sideline. Manny Fernandez, all them guys. Bob Greasy was on the sidelines. Those guys were all friends of ours. We loved every one of those guys, man. It was great. We shared the place, the Orange Bowl, with the Dolphins. It was great. How many field goals last year did Jalen put us in position for? A ton. Same way Brady put Vinatieri in many positions, right? Okay. Sills was everywhere. Fly, very fortunate in my life and lucky to have been in a few places in my life like that. That was a wonderful night. And Bonacani's kid, I think, Mark, what was really cool about our relationship with the Bonacanis and my relationship with them, and still with Mark to this day, what Jimmy did was, after Mark got paralyzed, I forget, 86, 5, when he was at the Citadel, they brought him to the University of Miami, and Jimmy gave him a scholarship so that he could go to school. And he went to school, and I know that they put him through the paralysis part of the University of Miami. We all became friends with him, with the Miami Project. And we all helped raise money for the Miami Project. For Sills. Run, Sileo, run! Run, Sileo, run! Yeah. Oh, man, that's funny, man. Yeah, 72 Dolphins made a commercial for the Giants when they beat the 18-0. Hey, I still say to this day, Barb, that Dolphins team's the greatest team of all time. They won 3 AFC titles in a row, 2 Super Bowls, and one of those teams was undefeated. It's got to be the greatest run in pro football history. I shouldn't like Jimmy Johnson or Troy. When Jimmy got to the Hall of Fame, I cried. We all did. We all did. We all did. Barb, one of the nicest things. Dan, it was a great run. Sure was. A lot of fun. Absolutely. All right. I want to take a look at some of the games that were played this past weekend. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com. EAGLES, Eagles.
Chris goes, why'd you transfer from Maryland to Miami? Chris, you don't know I threw a guy out of a window? Oh, man. Chris, you didn't know I threw a guy out of a window at Maryland at College Park? My aunt, who watches this show religiously, was in Bobby Ross's office with my grandmother crying, please don't let him leave. I didn't want to leave either. I would never have left. I would never have left. Only 3 schools gave me scholarship offers: OU, Oklahoma, LSU, and Miami. Those 3. That was pretty much it. Rest of them were kind of Robustelli called LSU because he knew the coach. Barry Switzer's just a maniac. I had originally signed to go to Oklahoma. Jimmy talked me out of it. He did. He talked me out of it. Hi, Aunt Sills. See, Eagle's right. Okay, Eagle, it was only the first story. And here, I'll tell the story one last time. So it was the first story at Ellicott. The name of the building was. Boomer Esiason was at this party. I was so stupid as a kid. I'm still stupid. And Tone, I don't know if you've heard this. I was so stupid. So I go to this party, and each floor had this area where you could congregate. You could hold parties, and you could have study and whatever. And so weekends it was like studying. And the football team had the upper. We didn't have a dorm at the time. So we were at the top, like 14 and 15 at Ellicott. Did Mean ever shake your hand from OU later on? Yes, he did. Barry Switzer and I are friends to this day. He let me out of my scholarship. So I go downstairs, and there's really this hot chick in there. And so I'm like, yeah, talking to her, and a guy taps me on the shoulder. He goes, it's my girl. I go. So I continue talking to her. Taps me on the shoulder again. He goes, hey, that's my girl. And I go, oh, not tonight. She's not. Hey, his 5 buddies came over, and I whipped him, and I threw this guy, and there was a snowbank. So it sounds meaner than it was. So I pushed this guy out this window, and he goes into the snowbank, and he tumbles down. Wasn't that far, 5 feet in the snow. Boom, boom, boom. His next guys, and I just clean house with these guys. I was a different dude back then. I'm a lover now, not a fighter. Okay? Not tonight, she's not. And yeah, I wasn't a very nice guy back in them days. I was, I'm more of an even keeled guy today. Kind of. I think so. Yeah. That's my girl. Well, not tonight, she's not. Did you get a 10 score from the throw? No, because I walked into Bobby Ross's office and he goes, "What if there was an air conditioning unit under there?" And he killed the guy. And I'm like, and I had to go in front of a board. And Jimmy Johnson gets me down. "I'm giving you this, but let me tell you this. If you screw up one time, you're out of here." So I got a girl. I never left my dorm room for 2 years, 2.5 years at Miami. I never left my dorm room. I was not getting into trouble ever again. No way, man. No way. I had no more shot. My grandfather. Hey, so you guys know, my grandfather, when I got thrown out of Maryland, he was doing this. Tone, check it out. I'm out here doing this on my back porch. I'm looking up at the sky like this. And here comes my old school grandfather. "What are you looking at?" He goes, "You think he's going to help you?" He ain't going to help you. You think he's helping you? And I go, I'm feeling sorry for myself. Girl, do two things. Have you going to all your classes or going to none of them? Well, this one was a track star, and she had me going to every one of them. Hey, no, I wasn't high. I'm trying to feel sorry for myself. My grandfather was like, What are you doing? Oh, you feeling sorry for yourself? What's up there? Do you think he's helping you? I go. He goes, well, let me put it to you this way. You're either going to the Army or you're going to be on a boat with me every day at 4:30 pulling lobster pots. Pick what you want to do. You got to the end of summer. That's it. Hit like this. Look. Well, what are you doing? He ain't helping you. Oh my God. Yeah, it's my pop. Hey. Hey, Quan, I got accepted at Coronado for the SEAL program. That doesn't mean I was gonna be one. You have to attempt to become one. That doesn't mean you're going to be one. But I was gonna go become a Navy SEAL. I passed the test and everything, and you go to Coronado, then you got to go through the actual test. They go like this. They drop you 3 miles out with full gear. You got to swim in. They put you through all kinds of bullshit. And I was like, oh, God. Yeah. I was like, okay. But I had to go through all these tests prior, and I was gonna join the SEAL. I was going to try to attempt to become a SEAL. Oh, man. All right. Real quick here, some week 2. Captain Sills hanging off the side of the boat. Sills wouldn't have been able to climb the rope. Gives me a funny feeling. Dosa, thank you. All right. Some of the games we saw over what is it? Ravens and what's tonight? Ravens and Commanders, or Ravens and Saints tonight? I know the Ravens are playing tonight. Ravens and Commanders, I think it is, right? Jags look better this week versus the Lions. Tua throws a pick, turns around and goes on a 14-play drive. I'll tell you what, Ravens Commanders, thank you. I'll tell you this, man. I was kind of shocked that they put Tua in a preseason game, knowing his history of being injured. I was kind of shocked. Steelers are looking decent. I mean, I think the Steelers look actually better than they did a year ago. I don't know. I don't know what the Bills are doing. I don't think they played a lot of their frontline guys. 5-star. I think Boza and his people are working on that contract extension today and tomorrow, from what I understand. Colts and Bears, two teams still trying to figure it out. If I were the Buccaneers, I would start Kyle Trask. I would start Trask. Where are you going with Baker Mayfield? Are you really trying to win games? Why? So you can have a less of a draft pick? To have an opportunity at getting a guy in the April draft? Why? What's the point of it? Chiefs and Cards. Chiefs aren't going to do anything right now. Cards are a train wreck. I don't think that's a very good roster. Pats in Green Bay. What did they do? One of the players got hurt, right? And then they called it in the fourth. Is that right? They called it. Titans and Vikings. I believe that Mike Vrabel wants to have Malik Willis be the starting quarterback in Tennessee. That's how at least I look at it. Okay. Trey Lance, Niners, Broncos. I don't know, man. I don't know how you're going to save that guy. I thought he looked decent, but the Broncos really didn't have anybody in the game. Seahawks and Cowboys. My takeaway from that game was that Mozzie Smith has a long way to go. I had a guy on my Twitter page say this to me. He goes, "Hey, every clip I've seen with Mozzie, I've seen good things." I'm like, well, every clip I've seen, and I've randomly picked them. I haven't picked and choose them. I don't see it that way. It's funny how certain people want to see something. I think Mozzie Smith was a good pick. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. That's not how I looked at it. I don't see it that way. Giants, Panthers. I think Bryce Young's awful small. He looks small out there. Bengals, I don't care what you say about the Bengals, man. You're not going to know anything about the Bengals until Joe Burrow gets back out there on the field. That's just not going to happen. Colts and Eagles this week, I believe. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll try to get Frank Reich on this week. I want to get his thoughts on his Panthers and how Bryce Young looks. So we're going to be working on that as well. Get his thoughts on Jalen Hurts as well. I want to thank you guys. Please hit the like button. Thank you, Xander. Thank you, Big Joe. Tone, absolutely keep kicking ass. You're killing it as always. I thank you very much. 3 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.